hey, I'm about to shoot a porn in this backyard. Can you please take your children inside?
Guys, this is Cooking with Nathan. This is
Holly Randall. I really need no introduction. You all know who I am. Let's be real.
Exactly.
So basically, I sent him a recipe for traditional roast potatoes and traditional British roast potatoes, and I'm very particular about it if you guys don't know. My mother is English, she's Suze Randall. She was one of the first women who worked behind the scenes in the adult industry. She's the one who got me into this godforsaken career. It's all her fault and my dad's fault, to be fair. But she's British. My parents emigrated here from England in 1974, and I was born in 1978 for their first child. So I had a very British upbringing in America. And one of the things that was really important and integral to us as a family was having a proper British roast on Sundays.
Yeah.
It was like a big thing.
No, because we were trying to figure this out. And honestly, I didn't know this because I think you just started your OnlyFans, but you never actually were a performer at all. No, you started as camera or with your mom?
Yeah, so I started in the adult industry when I was 20 years old. So this was back at the very kind of beginnings of the internet and people creating adult membership sites. So my mother, like I mentioned, is Suze Randall. So she launched her website in 1998. And we actually launched Suze.net, I think it was a month before or after Google. That's how fucking old our site is.
Shit.
Yeah, crazy, right? So SuzeNet was doing really well. I was going to Brooks Institute of Photography at the time because I knew I wanted to be a photographer, but I didn't imagine doing it in adult. And I just found I really didn't fit in. I didn't enjoy the school. It was very stifled. It produced a lot of like commercial photographers. And so my dad actually asked me, he was like, hey, I was living in Santa Barbara at the time. He's like, would you move back to LA and help us out with this website? Because like we literally, like we're making all this money and we don't know what we're doing. This is such a new thing for us. And so I was like, okay. So I came back. I started working for them. First, just in the office. I was actually doing a lot of copyright enforcement because, no surprise, people were stealing our pictures left and right and creating websites with our photos.
Oh, shit.
I mean, it was the Wild West back then. You know, it was kind of nuts. And I just found that I really enjoyed it. I think because the internet gave us so much freedom in terms of what we could shoot. Because now, like, my mom didn't have to shoot for magazines. She didn't have to shoot for clients. She could literally just shoot whatever we wanted. You know, we could have a meeting and we'd be like, okay, what do we want to shoot this week? Like, oh, let's shoot like a 20s gangster theme thing. And we were making enough money to be able to get the costume and the wardrobe and the set design and the makeup. I mean, it was literally like shooting really cool glamour layouts. They just happened to get naked at the end and pull their penis out. You know what I mean?
How does the industry change since you got in? Because like, I know for me, even in 7 years, it's changed. So what has your experience been?
So when I first came into the industry, you know, it was all, like I said, it was mostly magazine work. That's really what it was.
So what, you also didn't have video anywhere, it was just pictures? We
were just shooting pictures. We started, as the internet began to evolve and bandwidth got better and you could, you know, start to put videos up without, you know, having to download for 3 hours at like a 320 fucking resolution. We started doing like behind the scenes and stuff like that. But yeah, at the beginning it was really just about photos. And what was really nice about that is that you had all day to shoot one layout. You know, nowadays you have to shoot like 2 scenes, plus pretty girls, plus softcore, plus hardcore, plus social media stuff, like all the shit that you have to do in one day. You can't like spend that attention to detail that we could back then.
Yeah.
You know, we had all day to shoot one layout, and so like we could get the poses perfect, we could get the lighting perfect.
Yeah.
Am I putting it in there?
Yeah. You're basically gonna cut a line down this way and you're gonna cut a line down this way. We're gonna rip out the spine like the Predator. Spatchcocking. What a great thing to learn.
Simpler time.
You can throw the trash. On the side of things that have happened, because you were a director for how long?
I mean, I still am a director.
Okay,
so 25 years.
25 years.
I mean, I guess like initially I was a photographer, right? So basically like
kind of padded in.
What I had to do was, as I saw video come along, I recognized that we really had to move forward and start shooting video. My mom was not into that. Like she just wanted to do photography. She didn't want to try this new medium. And I remember this one website coming along, and they were pulling a lot of traffic, and we saw them as an up and coming competitor. You want to know what the name of that website was?
Team Skeet?
It was Brazzers.
Ah.
are these people
Who is this
are like
weak-ass
spending so much money for affiliate signups and putting out all of this content? We need to keep up with browsers. And then obviously they went way above and beyond anything that our little family business was capable of doing.
Also stole everyone's money.
Well, yeah.
So your mom was a photographer. Was she a photographer in England?
So she started off as a model in England.
Okay, so that's how it got into doing the porn.
Yeah, so basically, my mom's story is she was a model. So she was a nurse initially, and then she met my father at a party when she was 22. And they fell in love instantly. It's like a really sweet, like, love at first sight, like,
Aw.
story. Yeah, it's really lovely. I actually interviewed my dad, and like a couple years before he died, and he talked about that first time of meeting my mom and the electricity that they both felt, and it was really sweet. And I was able to like play that at his funeral, which like there wasn't a dry eye in the house. So they had this really great love story, but also very unique because they were swingers and they went to orgy parties and they fucked other people. And
that was my next question.
Yeah, they did all that, but they were still like, my mom slept with a lot of guys, especially when she was at the Playboy Mansion. But like my father was always like the only one for her. It was the 60s, darling, as she likes to say.
What's something that someone brought to the table that was just like, why?
So if they really don't respect my time, that's like the most frustrating thing. I had a model once who I shot for Twisty's Treat of the Month who showed up 2 hours late. And this was at a house that like was really hard to get. I had a very limited amount of time there. I mean, locations are always like my biggest problem, right? So I had a limited amount of time there. She showed up 2 hours late, literally told me as she was getting out of the car that the reason she was late was because she did too much cocaine the night before.
It happens.
And couldn't get out of bed. And to be fair, I sort of was like, okay, I kind of respect you for not lying to me and coming up with some bullshit excuse and, telling me that legitimately it was because you did too much blow last night, but also like, zero apologies. And then when we were on set, one of the things that Twisties asks is please like keep this under wraps until we release you as Treat of the Month. She was live streaming the whole time. She was like posting story, like she didn't give a fuck. Like just no respect for me, no respect for my crew. And I can't handle because like that's unfair.
Yeah. How many female directors are actually in this business?
Not many. I mean, I remember, again, like I started off as a photographer like my mom, and pretty much we were like the only two. There was one other woman that I think shot for Club for a time, and then she kind of disappeared. But, there's still not enough female directors in the industry now, but there definitely wasn't any when I started. And I will say that, I know that I've heard feedback from a lot of performers, especially if they're new, that they feel more comfortable with a woman. But I also I'm sometimes careful to say like, oh, because I'm a woman, I do a better job or whatever. Because there's a lot of great male directors who are wonderful and, women love working with and treat them really well. So like, I don't want to be one of those people like, just because I'm a woman, like I can do it better. Because then it's like, what's the difference between saying just because I'm a man, I can do it better? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but I will say that like generally, especially newer talent, feel more comfortable with me. I feel like sometimes there's more attention to detail. Like I'm very specific about makeup and hair. I'm very picky about my makeup and hair artists because I find that a bad makeup artist can really like ruin a look. I mean, I also like pay attention to small details like tags in clothes, tags on the bottom of shoes, poses, trying to make sure that the girl like really is doing a pose where her body looks her best. I can recognize what a girl might be insecure about and have her pose in a way where she addresses those flaws. And I also know how to speak to them in a way where I can talk about trying to hide these little flaws without saying something like, hide your fat rolls, I won't say something like that. I'd be like, hey, move your arm up a little bit. We just want to like block those creases in your waist, stuff like that. Just the way that I say things.
Oh, man.
So that it doesn't feel aggressive and, that I'm judging them or that I'm kind of pointing out like things for them to be insecure about.
Oh, I've heard the directors like go, and I was like, oh my god,
why
are you guys putting me in a bad spot? I have to fuck this chicken.
Yeah, you don't talk to people like that. Like you gotta I'm very good at being careful about how I say things.
My big things I've found is leaf blowers, airplanes, and schools.
Dude, sound is the biggest problem. That's actually why I loved shooting for Playboy for all those years, because it was all softcore and it was all such a music and I didn't have to worry about audio. It was awesome. Audio is the biggest problem. It's like the rule that the minute you start shooting dialogue or sound, the fucking gardeners show up next door.
Yep.
Like
or
every
dogs.
time. Or dogs,
Yeah.
or the kids are home from school and they're playing in the backyard and you can fucking hear them and you're like, now you got to move the shoot inside.
Yep.
Because you can't go next door and be like, hey, I'm about to shoot a porn in this backyard. Can you please take your children inside? Like,
Yeah.
you can't do that.
They apparently think frown upon that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, change of plan.
Do you ever find that such an interesting thing that, like, okay, women belong in the kitchen, but the guy would carve up the meat, or
Yeah.
the guy would do the barbecuing, but the woman would do this?
But the funny thing is that my dad actually was the cook, and my husband is the cook.
Yeah?
Like, my mom and I are not the cook. I mean, I can cook, but my husband always does, almost always does the cooking, and my dad always did the cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, kind of role reversal there.
So why don't you just cut this bad boy up a little bit and we'll serve ourselves some stuff up.
Okay.
Okay? Mm-hmm. All right. And maybe it's not like Mama made it, but you know.
No, it's, look, Nathan, it's delicious, and I appreciate you feeding me. This is great. I mean, the only thing that I offer at my podcast is liquid death, is somebody sends me cases and cases of it.
I'm talking about. You,
And,
you gave me coffee.
And coffee. And we've actually added a little snack bar.
Oh.
Like pretzels,
Oh.
basically. And I always record it like during lunchtime, so I'm always starving afterwards. So this is lovely.
Anyway, why don't they tell everyone where you can they can find you, what's new, all the stuff that's going on?
Yes. So you can find me I'm at Holly Randall on Twitter or X and Instagram. You can go to hollylinks.com for all of, I don't know what camera to look into. Doesn't matter, that one. Okay. You can go to hollylinks.com for all of the links to all of my platforms, because I do have a lot of them. And my podcast is Holly Randall Unfiltered, which you can find on YouTube and on all podcast platforms. And my OnlyFans is moreholly.com, because who doesn't need more of this?
The pregnant pictures were hot, by the way.
Ew.
Hey guys, thank you so much for coming to another episode of Cooking with Nathan. If you liked the episode, please like, subscribe, follow, check it out, and also check out the merch store, because we're going to be adding new merch stuff as soon as Dante makes more shit. So, thanks for watching. I will talk to you all soon. Bye.